Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Insurance campaign, hosted by the Telegraph Online. I'm Alistair Greener. Recent activity in the insurance market has shifted the market's focus into fresh technologies with a view to improving consumer and everyday insurance services. Customers are promised faster and more cost-effective products and services. We usually celebrate the advent of cutting-edge technologies. However, new challenges, opportunities, business models and competition come with them too. How can organisations prepare for a future in a competitive, data and technology-focused world? Well, this is what we'll find out from Simon Laird and Richard Brevington, the experts from Reynolds Porter Chamberlain LLP. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So is technology a spectacular store window, or is it actually true change?
I think it's true change. What technology allows insurers to do is to better understand their customers and improve how they can interact with customers. So if you think about what's happening in insurance at the moment, on a generalisation, is insurers are looking to move from offering a product to offering a service. And that means interacting through the course, not just of selling the product, but during the course of the policy and claims activity beyond that as well. What technology will do is allow insurers to interact with the customer in a different way and put the customer at the heart of the experience. So for that reason, I think it does represent true change.
You know, you say about insurers having traditional models. They've been doing these for decades, haven't they? Yet we're now asking them to transfer their skills to a more technological one. First of all, can they do it? And what's the best way to actually help them adopt these new technologies?
Well, they can change and they are changing. The Centre for the Study of Financial Innovation publishes an annual survey, and it's the Insurance Banana Skins report. And this year, amongst the insurance professionals that they interviewed, change management came out as top of the concerns that were currently occupying them. And that change management relates to technology. People are grappling with it and facing up to the challenge it provides and the opportunities that Simon's mentioned it provides. How can we help? Well, we provide a safe pair of hands for the legals related to the technology. And also, because we've got our own technology-related products, we share that desire for innovation and new approaches.
The challenge with technology for insurers, they're unfamiliar with it, and then of course they become scared about adopting the wrong technology. And there's a lot of different choices out there. So how can they make the right choice so they're not effectively hedging their bets against a different one in case it doesn't work out for them?
Well, I think it's having a clear strategy of what they want to achieve and what they invest in terms of technology, helping towards achieving that objective. This isn't a race. This isn't a chase for a silver bullet which is going to wipe out the competition. It's about building a business and a service which the insurer wants to offer. Choosing the technology on that basis is the starting point. But the real key is what Richard's just been talking about, and change management, because unless you can get insurers as a whole organisation to adopt the technology, your C-suite can pick the right investment in technology, but unless it's adopted and used properly, then they're never going to get the benefits for the business. So I think that the change management is a really important thing.
And you're quite right, data of course has its own challenges. You've got all the regulatory issues around it, GDPR coming up, data storage and so on. How can an insurer be sure that they are actually compliant in all of this? I mean, it's quite a lot for them to take on, isn't it?
Well, companies are not compliant yet with the GDPR. They're not prepared yet, but they're in the process of getting prepared. There was a government report that came out in July this year, the Cyber Governance Health Check report, and that said that only 6% of FTSE 350 companies are prepared for the new data protection rules. They're coming into force in May next year, so it's on a lot of people's agenda to get themselves ready for those rules now. And of course, that's the perfect time to be thinking about what you do with data and making sure that the innovations and the plans you have for data are factored into those compliance plans now. So it's the perfect opportunity at this time to be considering both things.
So it's as important to deal with that as the technology decisions themselves in terms of what you're going to pick and adopt.
One of the areas of insurance which is becoming bigger and bigger is, of course, cyber insurance, and that's becoming an increasingly competitive environment. So again, you know, how can an insurer get themselves in a position where they're best placed to be able to serve that market?
Well, insurers have to invest in the expertise that is there. Cyber insurance is a good example of a technology-related product that is growing, but it's been around for a number of years now, and there are plenty of people who do have expertise in that area. We've seen recently a number of senior cyber underwriters move from insurance firm to insurance firm because their talent is really in demand. The insurance for cyber is a real area of growth. I mean, even amongst established players who some at one point might have seen cyber as a bit too niche, they're suddenly in a position as underwriters where brokers are coming to them with a list of insurance that their major clients are going to need, and suddenly on that list is cyber insurance. It wasn't there a few years ago, it is now. In order to provide that full suite of products, they need to start thinking about cyber. So it's a good example of a technology related product which is growing. There is expertise there, but now's the time to invest in it.
I've heard this term re-secure. What exactly is that?
It's a breach response product. So if you, as an insured with cyber insurance in place, have a breach incident and you don't know what to do, you can contact the re-secure service. And the idea is that will give you all of the advice you need from a number of sources to deal quickly and efficiently with the cyber breach. 3 or so years ago, the data breach response services weren't as advanced as they are now. And we were thinking, well, what would you need in that sort of situation? We decided, working with some technical consultants, that actually the key is speed, efficiency, and getting all of the service providers you need in the right place to give you the advice straight away. So we produced a product that does exactly that, and it's been growing for the 2.5 years since we introduced it. In the last 18 months, we've had around 50 breaches, big or small, that we've dealt with. So it's a good example of a product focused on technology that wouldn't have existed 3 or 4 years ago, but is growing now.
And it's interesting when you're talking about data, because we have this sort of almost contradictory relationship with it. On one hand, we really love it because it's giving us all this information, but then sometimes, especially if we're sharing it, it's too much information. And then we get to our position where we don't really know how to make the most of it and then turn it into actionable knowledge. What sort of advice would you give there?
Well, I think some people describe data as gold, and they're probably right. And if it is gold, then insurers are gold mines. So they've got a huge amount of data that they hold. The challenge for insurers in those circumstances is where do you start? We are at the beginning of the journey. So when people started mining for gold, they weren't using the same tools now that they were at the outset. And that's where we are with the evolution of technology in insurance. So I think we've got to give it time. There are some easy wins though. I mean, where RPC tend to work with insurance companies is insurers from a claims experience will have a lot of claims information notified to them. When they appoint a firm like RPC, lawyers, loss adjusters, obviously they're looking for a bit more detail and depth of analysis in terms of what that service provider is doing. And what that means is when you're looking for a bit more certainty in the knowledge you can extract from data, there are some obvious easy wins with the service providers, which we're finding that insurers are coming to us and asking them if we can help them with.
So let's fast forward a little bit. What do we think we're going to see in, say, the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, of course, technology isn't just impacting on the insurers. There was a stat I saw the other day, which was 65% of primary school children joining school last year will go into different jobs to what exists today. And some of that will be driven by automation. And if you think that through, that means there's different types of risks which insurers are going to have to be covering. You look at driverless cars and the advancements that we're seeing there. Last week was reported we can have driverless lorries trialled on the motorway. So I think you've got this underlying change of the risks that insurers are writing. I think that we will see insurers continue to collaborate with startup enterprises. I think we'll see more of that. There is a trend of that already over the last couple of years of incumbent insurers working with startups. A lot of that has been around personal lines at the moment. I expect that to change and commercial lines to come into that. So not just your household insurance type scenario, but business risk suddenly becoming at the forefront of technology as well. But we've probably come full circle to the first question you asked, which is technology change? And the reason I said yes, I think it will mean real change is because it will put the customer more at the centre of the journey. Technology can do that. And I think that, if you're looking 5 to 10 years down the line, is what we'll actually see.
It's really interesting looking at the development of insurance and basically a new world of insurance that we're going to be seeing. I'd like to finish off by really asking you, if you could give our audience one thing to take away from today's interview, just one thing, what would you say? And we'll start with you, Simon. What would you say?
I would say, don't panic. There's a lot of noise around technology, and it's about making the right sound decisions for the right reasons, and not getting carried away with the noise and the talk of disruption that's happening. Make the right decisions for the right reasons.
Richard?
I'd say that technology is an opportunity. It's a challenge, but it's a real opportunity. And although things will change, my little boy still says he wants to be a footballer, so he's obviously in the 35%.
Well, I'm not sure where we go from there, but it's been really fascinating finding out about the developments in the insurance business and to see how technology can be a real help. Simon Laird, Richard Brevington from RPC, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.